Let's revert our gaze now over to the ACC. We're one of the highest ranked ACC teams, not the highest ranked ACC team because that still belongs to Georgia Tech, but the second highest ACC ranked team goes on the road to the great state of Texas to face off against the Southern Methodist University Mustangs. This should be a really interesting game. I'm excited to watch it. Josh Pate will be there. If you're there, say hi to Josh Pate. He'll be a big bald dude in a white shirt. And the Canes, of course, have been one of the biggest stories of this college football season. Of course, they were white hot to start the year. They beat Notre Dame. I think that's one of the biggest wins that any team has this year. Huge win over Notre Dame, close game. They won it in week one. Carson Beck went from being hated in the college football world to being one of the Heisman favorites. Then they beat Florida. Then they killed Florida State as if they weren't already dead. If they had just lost to Virginia, if Florida State wasn't already dead, then Miami put them to sleep. And people were praising Miami, saying they were the best team in the country. A lot of people had them ranked number one. Everyone's saying national title contender. This team is so good. They're going to light the mountaintops on fire. They got their swagger back. Michael Irvin's going to games. This is awesome. Canes Nation is back. And then Jeff Brom took the Louisville Cardinals into Miami on a Friday night and into that conversation just like that. Huge win for Louisville. That game was epic. It was so fun to watch. Carson Beck imploded through 4 interceptions. Miami couldn't run the ball. They got dominated on the line of scrimmage. I think Mark Flesher had 8 carries for 18 yards in that football game. Wow, that is just rough stat line. Miami goes down to Louisville, and just like that, everyone is saying, yeah, I knew it. Carson Beck was not going to win them a championship anyway. We all knew. Hey, there's no chance. With Carson Beck on that team, no way. Ain't no way. I just don't understand how people didn't see this coming. I mean, we've watched Carson Beck play a college football season before. We know because of the Georgia season last year that if you can't run the ball and you make Carson Beck win a football game, he can't do that. I don't know why we didn't expect something like this to happen. I mean, in the early going of this season, they had offensive consistency, and they had a defense that was just knocking people out. So, of course, Carson Beck looked good because it's really hard not to look good when you can run the ball really well. Your receivers, Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels, are playing like Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, and your defense is just dominating. So that's why Carson Beck looked good. I still think Carson Beck is a good quarterback. I'm not hating on him as much as other people are. But I don't think Miami is going to contend for a national championship. I never had them in my top 5. Not once in this season did I have them in my top 5 power rankings wise. I didn't think they were going to be very good. I thought they were vulnerable, and they did lose to Louisville. But they've got a big test on the road at SMU. This is the first time these two teams have played since 1965. And this is the first time they've played in the city of Dallas, I believe. Before they played somewhere else in Texas, and they played in Miami and probably in a bowl game or something like that. First time they played since 1965. And I think actually this might be the first time, just the second time they've ever played. So I could be completely wrong about everything I said. But if I look at this game, I look at SMU, and I thought SMU was going to be pretty good to start the year. I had them power ranked to start the year. Then they went out and lost to Baylor. They got torched by Sawyer Robertson. And then they lost to TCU in the Battle of the Iron Skillet. They got torched by Josh Hoover. And then I thought, this SMU team, they're pretty much done. And then they started really well in the ACC. They played great. They beat Clemson. And I predicted SMU to go to the ACC championship game. And then they lost to Wake Forest. How, you may ask? I have no idea. I did not watch the game. I just looked at my phone as the Alabama game was starting, and I said, what on earth? Wake Forest beat SMU? Legitimately one of the biggest shockers in college football this season, in my opinion. And Miami has one ACC loss. SMU has one ACC loss. If SMU wins this game, they could potentially control their own destiny and make the ACC championship game and have a chance to make playoffs. So this game is very much an elimination game, not just for SMU, but maybe also for Miami. If they lose this game, it's their second ACC loss. So probably not going to make the ACC championship game, and I don't know if they'll get an at-large bid. Their best win is what, Florida? Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame. Great win, but, I mean, I don't know. Other than that, they don't really have a huge win. So I look at SMU, and I see that they're third in the ACC in rush yards allowed per game. They struggle to stop the run. They're not very physical up front, and they've gotten gashed a couple times by rushing attacks, even against Baylor. Baylor can't run the ball very well, and they ran the ball well against SMU. And I think that's a recipe for disaster against the Canes because I think if Miami establishes any sort of run game, and they can do that because Mark Fletcher is big, he falls forward, and he's tough to stop. And I think they're going to get him going. I think he's going to run with some consistency. And with that, it's going to open up Carson Beck. It's going to open up Malachi Toney and CJ Daniels, and this offense is going to start clicking again. So what did I say? Oh, stop the run to force Beck to throw INTs. That's going to be the SMU key to success. If I was Rhett Lashley, I would commit to stopping the run and make Carson Beck beat me. On the other side of the football, Miami's defense should be locked down. It's been great all year. Even against Louisville, it was really good. Of course, the first 2 possessions he got scored on. But that was just because Jeff Brom brought out the entire playbook. He was just absolutely in his bag. And after those 2 drives, they sputtered out. And Miami dominated the rest of the game, just like they did against Florida, just like they did against Florida State. So I think Miami's defense is still elite, and SMU struggled offensively this year. They really haven't been able to run the ball at all. That's what they were so good at last year. They lost Smith, their running back. They lost a lot of their great offensive linemen, and now they're really struggling to move the ball on offense. So, frankly, I think Miami's going to win this game. I think they're going to squeeze SMU, and I think they'll eliminate SMU from the playoffs. And this is just an unfortunate season for Rhett Lashley. I still like the Mustangs. I still think they're headed in the right direction program-wise. I just think Miami's too talented. They're too physical. They're too scary. They're too skilled. And they've got too much in the run game with Mark Fletcher and playmaking-wise with Malachi Toney to win this football game. So give me the Canes on the road in Dallas. I believe Miami has also been picked to win by Will. Yes, Will has Miami. I have Miami. We're both riding with the Canes. So go Canes in Week 10 of college football.